Many people start their day by thinking about their problems, which are linked to specific memories involving certain people and events. It's as if your brain is an old tape recorder that replays the same tape every day. This means that when you wake up and immediately focus on these problems, you are already living in the past. Each of your memories is tied to emotions, which are the result of past experiences. When you think about your problems, you start to feel unhappy, sad, and in pain. The way you think and feel shapes your state of being, which in turn defines your character. If you begin your day focused on the past, your past will inevitably shape your future. For example, imagine something happened yesterday that made you angry. Today, you wake up thinking about it and feel angry again. If you do this for 2 days, people might think you had a bad day. If you do it for a week, they might think you're in a bad mood. Over time, if you keep it up, anger will become part of your character, and you'll be seen as someone who is always angry. This shows that your thoughts shape your destiny. If you keep dwelling on the past, you'll keep creating the same life, even if it's a life you don't like. Here's how it often goes. You wake up and grab your phone, checking emails or texts, then the news to feel connected to your familiar world. Next, you follow a set of routine actions. Getting out of bed on the same side, heading to the bathroom, grabbing coffee in your favorite mug, showering, getting dressed, and taking the same bus or route to work. At work, you interact with the same people who trigger the same emotions. After work, you rush home to repeat it all again tomorrow. This routine becomes like a computer program, and before you know it, you feel like you've lost control. Your subconscious program is now in charge, not you. By the time we reach 35 years old, about 95% of our personality consists of learned behaviors, emotional reactions, unconscious habits, deeply ingrained attitudes, beliefs, and perceptions. These aspects function like a pre-programmed script running in the background of our minds. Meanwhile, we might consciously desire to be healthy, happy, and free, using only about 5% of our conscious mind for these intentions. It's akin to trying to compete in a weightlifting competition with an average person against an Olympic powerlifter. It's no wonder that making changes is challenging, and that we often find ourselves reverting to our old patterns, creating the same life over and over again. The difference between the conscious and subconscious minds lies in the analytical mind. This is where meditation becomes important. Through meditation, you can learn to change and calm your brain waves. If done correctly, you can access the operating system of your mind where you can begin to make significant changes. Many people wait until a crisis, trauma, illness, or diagnosis forces them to make changes. But why wait for something negative to prompt change? You can learn and grow from both pain and suffering, as well as from joy and inspiration. A significant portion of people spend about 70% of their lives in survival mode, constantly stressed. Due to their past experiences, they tend to expect the worst case scenario, which leads them to focus on negative outcomes from the infinite possibilities available in life's quantum field. It's like looking at a menu with countless options and always picking the worst one. Every time you remember a negative event, your brain and body react as if it's happening again. You generate the same chemical reactions in your brain and body, sending the same emotional signals. Essentially, your body is like your subconscious. It doesn't distinguish between the memory and the actual event. It responds as if the event is occurring right now. Many people keep experiencing negative emotions because they keep thinking about them. When they try to let go of these emotions, they might say they want to change, but the challenge is that the body is more powerful than the mind. Over the years, the body has become accustomed to these negative emotions, and now it controls them instead of the other way around. When you make a sudden decision to change and step into the unknown, your body resists. It prefers to feel guilt and suffering because they are familiar and predictable. The unknown is scary for the body. It's like stepping into a deep river where the body knows it might not survive. It will do everything it can to prevent you from reaching the other side. When you start meditating, suddenly little distractions pop up, such as your nose itches, you remember tasks you forgot, or old memories surface. It's like your body saying, let's go back to our old familiar life. Your body has many ways to distract you and keep you from venturing into the unknown, which is where your future lies. Meditation is the easiest way to step into the unknown and create your future. Once you reach a deep meditative state, you unlock the power to shape your future. Consider, what kind of life do you envision? What behaviors align with your ideal self? By closing your eyes and mentally rehearsing these desired behaviors and scenarios, you're effectively programming your brain for success. Interestingly, during this visualization process, your brain can't tell the difference between imagination and reality. Through this practice, you're not just reflecting on the past. You're actively charting a course for your future. If you continue this practice, you might find yourself naturally behaving like a happy person. The trickiest part is teaching your body, on an emotional level, what your future will feel like before it actually happens. Simply imagining it isn't sufficient. You need to feel it emotionally in your body. If thoughts are the language of the brain, then feelings are the language of the body. Your body understands what your mind is telling it through feelings and emotions. If you don't feel anything, it means your body isn't receiving the signal. It's like having a working internet modem in your room, but you can't connect because you've turned off the Wi-Fi on your phone. The moment you start feeling the emotions of your thoughts, you are connected to the internet and you can start downloading your future life. What does this mean? It means you no longer have to wait for success to feel successful. You don't need to wait for wealth to feel abundant. You don't have to wait for your new relationship to feel love. According to the quantum model of reality, the moment you feel rich and valuable, you start creating wealth. The moment you start feeling it, you begin moving towards your future. This means you become the creator of your future. You no longer live as a victim, saying things like, I am this way because of that person or because of that experience. Unfortunately, many people today are trapped by their own negative thoughts from the past. Most people aren't aware of this, but here's the thing about thoughts. Just because you have a thought, it doesn't mean it's true. I'll say it again. Just because you have a thought, it doesn't mean you should act on it. On average, you think 60,000 to 70,000 thoughts a day. 90% of these thoughts are the same as the day before. If your thoughts shape your destiny, then your life won't change much because the same thoughts lead to the same choices. The same choices lead to the same behaviors. The same behaviors create the same experiences, and the same experiences produce the same emotions. That's why meditation is so important, to become more aware of how you think, act, and feel. The more aware you are, the less likely an unwanted thought will slip past your consciousness unchecked. The word meditation means to become familiar with something. So, when you become familiar with the thoughts, behaviors, and emotions of your old self, you are no longer controlled by them. Instead, you start thinking new thoughts and putting your body into a new emotional state. If you do this consistently, this new emotional state will become familiar to you. Creating a new self is like starting a new garden. First, you have to clear out the weeds and stones. Then you need to remove last year's plants and prepare the soil. Only then can you start planting. Meditating works in a similar way. It's not easy. Training your body to sit down and meditate is like training a wild animal or a dog. You tell it to sit down and wait, but it runs away. So you catch it and bring it back. But of course, it runs away again and you catch it and bring it back. When you start meditating, your body might react with thoughts like, hey, it's 9 o'clock. You usually read emails and get annoyed at this time, but here you are sitting and doing nothing. You're off schedule. For years, you've both been getting annoyed together at this time, but suddenly you've changed. The body starts sending signals, seeking that predictable chemical state it's used to, even if it's toxic. Every time you pay attention to what your body's doing and focus on the present moment, you're telling your body that you're in charge, not the other way around. Your will becomes stronger than the usual habits. If you keep doing this repeatedly, like training a dog, eventually your body will sit down and obey. When your body surrenders, energy is released. You shift from being stuck in the past to embracing new possibilities. You free yourself from the emotions that have been holding you back. If you practice this for just 1 week, you'll start to notice differences in your life. You'll catch yourself more often and avoid falling back into old, unhappy patterns. Repeat this process until your vision for the future becomes your reality in the present.